Welcome back to the Cardman's Cards. I am the Cardman. Today we are going to be going over one of the more powerful decks in the format right now. It is not the powerful, that still is Snake Eyes, Fire King, but it's up there. It's very rogue and more competitive than other decks in the format. The deck I'm talking about is Drytron. Drytron is a machine ritual based deck that they take the ritual formula and turn it on its head. Instead of using the levels for their ritual, they use the attack stat of their monsters. For example, all of their monsters have 2k attack, but the way they use their ritual spell is you contribute or send monsters with the attack or higher, greater, or equal to the monster you're trying to summon. So, for example, if I'm trying to summon Benten, which is 1800, I could use one Drytron monster as a material because it's 2k. It has more than the required attack stat. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Drytron has seen a lot of support / utility over the years. I really wanted to play this deck for a while. It was recently new and really good. Let's get rid of that. And it was really powerful right when... sorry about that. It first came out. So let's go ahead and jump into it, starting with your typical starter, Drytron Alpha Thuban. All of the Drytron names have the same condition. They can't be normal summon set, must be just summon from the effect of a Drytron card. But this allows you to basically use their own effects to send other names to summon themselves. They're very akin to Prank Kids, to where the main problem with the deck is that you need to see names. Different names, more or less. They are all level 1 light machine, 2k0. There's a few exceptions, but the majority of them are that. Cannot be normal summon set. Must be summoned with a Drytron card. Contribute one other Drytron monster or one ritual monster from your hand or field. Special summon this card from your hand or grave in defense position. Then you can add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Never summon monsters except monsters that cannot be normal summon set. You can turn and activate this effect. You can only use each effect of Drytron Alpha Thuban once per turn. So he is your typical starter. He adds your ritual monster, which allows you to continue to play if you open another name. So you activate Thuban, and then Thuban grabs you Benten, Dad. Right? Yeah, sorry, this is Dad. Or Draconids, the original, depending on what you need. Next up, it's surprisingly not inherently a Drytron card. It's more seen as a Ursatron card. Ursatron and Drytron have a fused kind of grouping of cards. Same thing with Raid Raptor and Phantom Knights and Dark Ixie Dragon. How they're tied in together due to lore. This card's always treated as a Ursatron and Drytron card, but it has neither in the name. It's a water level 7 machine, 2k7. 2k is because of the Drytron, the 700 is because of the Ursatron cards. A lot of the level 7 Ursatron monsters, they have like 14 or something attack, and then they have 700 defense. So it's reminiscent of that. It is Ultimate Bright Knight Ursatron Alpha. This card is always treated as an Ursatron Drytron, as I said before. Cannot be normal summon set, and must be summoned by card effect. You control an Ursatron or Drytron monster, except itself. You summon this card from your hand, and you can add one Ursatron or Drytron spell trap from your deck to your hand. You only use each effective Ultimate Bright Knight Ursatron Alpha once per turn. Very good card, very powerful card. Easily searchable with the new card they recently got, and a few sets ago, that we'll be going over shortly. But yeah, it's just the one for the fact that too many can be a little cluggy and bricky. You don't inherently need it, as you can recycle the name pretty effectively. By using Dyna Mondo. He is basically allows you to put it card back. Next Drytron name is Zeta Aldhibah. I think is how you pronounce that one. Not 100% sure. Another level 1 light machine, 2k0. Cannot be normal summon set. Must be summon with the effect of a Drytron card. You contribute one other Drytron monster or one ritual monster from your hand. Or field special summon this card from your hand or grave in defense position. And you can add one ritual spell from your deck to your hand. You only special summon monsters except monster cannot be normal summon set. The turn you activate its effect. You only use each effect of Drytron Zeta Aldhibah once per turn. So it adds the other part of the ritual combination, the ritual spell. Thuban adds Alpha Thuban adds your monster. Zeta adds your spell. That is also a 3 of. I don't think I mentioned that. Thuban's a 3 of. Zeta's a 1. Ultimate Bright Knight Ursatron Alpha is a 1, and then a 3 for Zeta. I forgot if I mentioned that or not. Another 3 of is Drytron Gamma Eltanin, I think. Level 1 Light Machine, 2k0, as they all are. Cannot be normal summon set. Must be summoned with the effect of a Drytron card. You can contribute other Drytron monster or ritual monster from your hand or field. Summon this card from your hand or grave in defense position, and you can special summon one Drytron monster with 2k attack from your grave, except itself. You only special summon monsters except normal. That cannot be normal summon set. This turn you activate its effect. You only use each effect of Drytron Gamma once per turn. So, Gamma basically allows you to tribute another card to summon itself, and then summon another name back from grave. So say, for example, I open Thuban. I use Thuban to summon itself by tributing Gamma, and then Gamma will tribute the Thuban on field to summon itself, and then trigger when it's summoned to summon the Alpha back. Basically, you can replace a name and then get 2 out of it. Very helpful for that. And then up next we have the new card, an easy 3 of, Drytron Nu 2. A light machine, 2k0. Cannot be normal summon set. Must be summoned from the must be special summoned by card effect. This one's a little bit different. All the other ones so far we've gone over are the first wave or 2 of support. The Ursatron Knight, he was technically a support card for Ursatron Trick, really. So he came in a later chunk, so he doesn't really blend with the other ones. If a Drytron card is on the field, summon this card from your hand or grave, a banishment leaves the field. Perfectly fine. If this card is special summoned, you can add one Drytron monster from your deck to your hand, except itself. Only each effect of Drytron Nu 2 once per turn. Also going to ritual summon the turn you activate either of these effects except machine monsters. Which is fine, because the only thing you're really going to ritual summon in this deck, other than the Benten if needed, is your 2 ritual monsters that you run. Being Dad and then the baby version. The little one. So the cool thing about Nu 2 is that if you see Field Spell, Nova, or any way to get that, this is part of your 1-card combo to end on your big boss monster being Dad, which is basically a 4 material interruption, which is nuts to think about. But yeah, Nu 2, very helpful, easy 3 of. It's very funny because he's new too. But yeah, then we move on to Drytron Delta Altais. He is the last of the original Drytron names. There is one more, I forget what it's called, but it's not inherently that great. I forget what it does, but it's just an inherent, just not good effect. But you rather run the Nu 2 instead of it, so it's not inherently needed. Delta's not amazing either, but its draw can help. As that's what it basically does. It's a level 1 light machine, effect 2k0, can have an normal summon set. Must be summoned with the effect of a Drytron card. You contribute one other Drytron monster or one ritual monster from your hand or field. Special summon this card from your hand or grave in defense position. Reveal one ritual monster or ritual spell in your hand, and if you do, draw 1 card. Those summon monsters except that can have a normal summon set. Turn you activate this effect. You only use this effect of Drytron Delta Altais once per turn. So, thing about Delta, basically you've done all your combos, and you have still ways to summon your Drytron names, and you have a ritual monster in hand. This is basically going to get you another card while putting another name on field. So say I have a Benten in hand, use Delta, tribute Benten, summon itself, trigger the Benten, add a card, use Delta, reveal a ritual in hand or ritual spell, and then go ahead and draw a card. So basically you're replacing the card itself you're using for the tribute. Very helpful in that means. But yeah, that is all the regular names of the Drytrons. We have 2 more Drytrons that are the ritual monsters that we're about to go over. We have Drytron and Meteonis Draconids, also known as Dad. He's referred to as Dad in most groups you talk to, because it's really easier to say it and go over his whole name. And it's D-A-D, Dad. He's a level 12 light machine ritual effect, 5k, 5k. Big chungus. He's huge. He's probably one of the biggest regular bodies that you're going to see people playing often. He's very akin to Ulti Falcon of just, hey look, I'm huge. Granted, Ultimate Falcon is 35. He's 5k. But what the downside of that is, him being 5k, all the other Drytron rituals, there's one more. It's a monster pop, I believe. Instead of being a spell trap negation, which the one is. The other one is the one I'm running. They're both 4k. They're both 4,000. So you can only need to use 2 Drytron monsters to summon it. But for Dad, you have to use at least 3 for the fact because he requires 5k or higher. So you have to get at least 6. Which is kind of silly, but it's whatever. But he's very powerful in that sense. Because he's very beefy and he has a pretty good effect. You can ritual summon this card with Meteonis Drytron. Other Drytron monsters you control cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. That's great. Twice per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can banish one Drytron monster, minimum 1, from your graveyard whose total attack equals the exceed original attack of the monster. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If the ritual summon of this card in the owner's control is destroyed by opponent's card, summon one ritual monster with 4k attack from your hand or deck. This is treated as a ritual summon. So, if they ever get rid of Dad, you can inherently get the lesser version of Drytron Meteonis Draconids. I think it's a different version of him, or like a fusion between him and a different card. I'm not 100% sure. But you get this instead. Just immediately summoned, and it's counted as a ritual summon. Which is nice. Because it gets its effect pretty easily. The next one is this card, which is Drytron Meteonis Draconids, which is a light, level 12, 4k, 4k. So again, big. They're big bodies. If you get 2 attacks off with this, your opponent loses. It's a 4k body. You ritual summon this card with Meteonis Drytron. Your opponent cannot target this card with monster effects. Total levels of use for ritual summon are 2 or less. This card attack also summons monsters your opponent controls once each. So that's pretty helpful. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish monsters from your grave whose combined attack equals 2,000 or 4. Target one face-up card your opponent controls for every 2,000 of the total sent that cards to the grave. Use each effect of Drytron Meteonis Draconids once per turn. So, this allows you to banish monsters from your grave whose combined attack is 2 or 4k, so 1 or 2 names, depending on how many you have. And then, depending on how many you banish, so for every 2k, so if I send 1 Drytron, I get 1 card. I send 2, I get 2. And you can only send 2. For every 2,000, which is there's only a number of 2. So it allows you to just get rid of cards as you need. So yeah. And then, the last rituals we run, you can run more. I only choose to run these 5, which is Cyber Angel Benten, a level 6 light fairy ritual, 1815. Benten is one of the most broken rituals ever printed. For one thing, the way rituals work, they tribute the monster to summon. And when Benten is tributed, you can add 1 light fairy monster from deck to hand. Guess what Benten is? A light fairy monster. So you can constantly add Bentens when you use Benten for ritual material. Which is really great. On top of that, in Drytron, you contribute a ritual monster you control to summon your Drytron monsters. And what does Benten allow you to basically recur? A ritual monster to hand. Which is amazing. Due to the fact that basically you're never going to run out of resources. Oh look, I have Alpha Thuban and a Benten. Benten Alpha Thuban effect, tribute Benten. Benten grab another light fairy, and then Thuban grab any ritual monster. They're just so consistent that Cyber Angel Benten is one of the best ritual cards ever printed. 90% of ritual decks run her, I should say. just for the fact that she's such a easy card to use in ritual decks, and it's like, hey look, another ritual monster, or more material. But yes, very simple to use, very easy. An easy 3 of. I'm going to go over the full effects just so you know what it does. It's also 18-15 for stats, if you're curious. You ritual summon this card with Machine Angel Ritual, which is the Cyber Angel Ritual card. If this card is destroyed by a monster by battle and sent to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster's original attack in the grave. If this card is tributed, you can add 1 Light Fairy monster from deck to hand, which is the effect that is amazing. Basically, tribute Benten, add Benten. Tribute Benten, add Benten. Tribute Benten, add the next card, Diviner of the Herald. This is also just a 1 of. It's a light level 2 fairy tuner effect, 500, 300. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send 1 fairy monster from your extra deck or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, increase this card's level by the monster's level until the end of the turn. If this card is tributed, you can special summon one level 2 or lower fairy monster from your hand or deck, except Diviner of the Herald. You will each effect of Diviner of the Herald once per turn. So, Heralds are another ritual-based archetype that's about negation. This is amazing for them. Diviner is also good for any ritual-based archetype, but this allows you to manipulate level to manipulate for the ritual spells that other decks use. In this case, not really. But the cool thing about Diviner is a lot of the Herald names or extra deck names have effects when they're sent to grave. For example, Herald the Arclight here, which is the main reason we run it. If it's sent to graveyard, you can add 1 ritual monster or 1 ritual spell from deck to hand, which is amazing because typically you won't get it off by any other means unless it's destroyed or tributed for a ritual spell. But Diviner can just send it outright, which is great. And you can make Diviner 6, and then you can synchro for 7s, which is very cool. That's why I run a couple 7s. So yeah, Diviner is a very helpful card, allowing you to get your combos going while also getting you the extra pieces you need. Like, for example, say I open Thuban, Benten. That's still a full combo, because you use Thuban, tribute Benten, Thuban adds Dad, Benten adds Diviner of the Herald, normal summon Diviner, Diviner grabs Meteonis, and boom, you're off to the races and you can still go. Because you send Arclight. So yeah, you're perfectly fine. Onto the hand traps we run. I'm running 6 in the deck. You can run more. You can easily increase this list. But the only problem with running more cards in a Drytron deck that aren't inherently Drytron names is the same thing Prank Kids, other decks like that nature have. Names. You need to see the names for this deck to function. If you don't see any card names, the deck does nothing. Like, there's no inherent, oh, I get to do this because I get to play. No. You need to see a card name. Like, there's some decks like, oh, I don't inherently need to see this because I can combo off of this one generic card. No. You need to see names. Period. Different names. Like, if I open 2 Thuban, that's not going to do me any good. I'm going to get a ritual monster, but I'm not going to do anything else. If I see a Thuban and a Gamma, that's great, because now I can get a Thuban to send Gamma, and then Gamma to summon itself off of Thuban, and then I can go to move Beta Fafnir, which sends another one, and just goes from there. You need to at least see a few names to even get the deck going, which I know sucks for consistency, but if you run any more hand traps, you run the risk of decreasing the chance you're going to see names in your opening 5 cards. But if you're so inclined, if you want to cut some of these card names, like if you want to cut Benten to 2, or any other cards you see down to run more hand traps, go ahead. But just a warning, Benten and some of the spells you run are additional, just more copies of Drytron monsters. I'm only running 6 non-engine in this entire deck, that being the hand traps, and this trap here. But again, I run that because of the extra deck monster is really good. You make a lot of bodies that you don't have nothing to do with, so it's just easy to link into a card that gets you more negation. But other than the hand traps, every card in here is a name. That's basically how all Drytron decks play. because they need to see names. So yeah, the hand traps are just Ash, Valor, Imperm, level 3 Fire Zombie Tuner, 0-18. Your opponent activates any of these effects. Quick effect, discard this card and negate that effect. Add, summon, or send from deck to grave. Add from deck to hand, summon a monster from deck, or send a card from deck to grave. Discard this card and negate that effect. Very helpful, one of the most common hand traps played, even to this day. Then you have Effect Valor, which is target negation, level 1 light spellcaster, tuner effect. To your opponent's main phase, quick effect, send this card from your hand to the grave. Target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate the effects of that face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. It's just a negation, that's all it does. Imperm is very similar to this, but if you set it, you can turn out the entire zone. And if you have no cards, you can use it inherently. Let's move on to the spells. We have Cyber Emergency. And no, this is not a Cyber Dragon deck, but Cyber Emergency works really well with Drytrons. It's actually reprinted in the Drytron pack. They came in because it's so helpful. The way it's worded is you can add one light machine monster. It cannot be normal summon set, which is great because Cyber Dragon also works in this way because a lot of the Cyber Dragon names can't be normal summon set or the high level ones. So you can just add that or a Cyber Dragon monster. But all your Drytron items, all of them, including your rituals, cannot be normal summon set. They all say that. So you can add any Drytron name you want. Any of them. With Cyber Emergency. Which is amazing. It's an easy 3 of it. It's one of the best consistency cards you can run. Yes, you could cut this down if you really wanted to. But, here's the funny thing. You could technically throw a Cyber Dragon in here. Just base Cyber Dragon. Cut one of these couple cards in the extra deck. For a Chimera Tech Fortress and Mega Fleet. Which is the 2 contact fuses. And if your opponent's playing any kind of machine or deck that likes to put cards in the EMZ, you can just link them off and eat them for free material, which is hilarious. For the solid fact that the way the deck works is you can summon a Cyber Dragon pretty easily with no real issue. Even if you don't want to inherently run pure Cyber Dragon, you can run like Core or something and just normal summon. It won't do anything, but become Cyber Dragon on the field, and you just contact. But yeah, you easily could run a Cyber Dragon, like just a Cyber Dragon, generically in this deck, and put those 2 fusions in to help spot remove. Like your opponent summons Goddess of the Closed World into the EMZ, just contact it away. They can't do anything with it. Seriously, they can't control it. They have nothing they can stop it unless they have like a warning or something to stop the summon. But still, it's nuts. Or access code or something along those lines. You can just outright gobble it with Cyber Dragon because it's a contact fuse. It's an inherent summon. They can't stop it. Which is amazing because this allows you to search it. That's why this is really cool. On top of that, most of the Cyber Dragon names are 2k or higher. So you could easily use them in place of a Drytron monster for the summon cost of your ritual monsters, which is nice. So, like, for example, say I go into Chimera Tech Mega Fleet, which is the EMZ steel. It's 21 by nature. 24, because it's 12 per material. You're going to be guaranteed to always use 2. It's 24. That's 1/3 of Dad. That's already 1/3 of Dad by doing nothing. By clearing your board and giving you a free fusion monster. That's all that's doing. So, like, if you really wanted to, you could take out, like, for example, I'm probably not going to use the Ancient Fairy Dragon. You could take out Ancient Fairy Dragon, Mirage Light, or something else. Throw in those 2 cards and a Cyber Dragon in the main deck. You're good as golden. And what the best thing is that it's just a free body if you can't summon anything. So if I summon anything and Cyber Dragon. It's a free 21 attack body that's level 5. That's inherently not the hardest to get over, but surprisingly difficult for some decks that summon low attack monsters. And even then, even if you open it and you have a ritual card, you have your ritual spell, Cyber Dragon again is just 1/3 of Dad because he's 21, which is great. It's just easy stats. I'm very tempted to throw in, like, I'm not saying you should pitch a Foolish Burial, but run this as a 41 card list, and just run as a Cyber Dragon, just because. You easily can. Like, if I cut Ancient Fairy and, like, I don't know, Knightmare Phoenix out of the extra deck, just for those 2 cards, it would not hurt. Because you're not going to go in the Phoenix very often, and Ancient Fairy is only for a side card, which is Secret, sorry, this is meant to be Secret Village, not Secret Sanctuary. I don't know what the hell this does. Yeah, that's not my bad. But yeah, you can do shenanigans like that, and it's hilarious. So yeah, off that tangent, we have Drytron Nova, another 3 of. Basically, it's a free summon of a Drytron monster from the deck. That's all it does. Summon one Drytron monster from your deck, but destroy it during the end phase. It's never going to be there during the end phase. You like to summon Drytron Nova per turn. You can also summon monsters you accept. They cannot be normal summon set. Turn and click this card, which is every name in your deck. So yeah. The only thing with the Cyber Dragon thing, if you activate Nova, Cyber Dragon is dead. You cannot special summon Cyber Dragon. That's the only drawback of that card. You can't summon it. But here's a cool thing. If you're worried about that, you could run Cyber Dragon Nashter, which is a level 2, I think? Something along those lines. But you can pitch any light machine monster, summon it for free, which again, putting your Drytron names in grave isn't a hindrance. So there's so many cool things you can do by running this extender. Because say I open 3 names in a Cyber Emergency, I don't need another name. I'm going to search a free spot removal card. It's also easy to bait out Ash. That too. But, yeah, 3 Nova, just for free summons. It's a great card. Drytron Nova is amazing. And we have the Ritual Spell. One of the best ritual spells ever printed. The fact that it bypasses most ritual problems, that it uses attack instead of levels. So I don't have to worry about levels on field. I just gotta worry about my big bodies. And all the Drytron monsters are 2K. So it's not hard to make monsters. It is a 1 of, because it's searchable. And 2, it's recurable due to its own effect. This card can be used to ritual summon any ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. You must also tribute machine monsters from your hand or field whose total attack equals or exceeds the attack of the ritual monster you ritual summon. So like I was saying, any machine monster. Cyber Dragon, who's 21. He's perfect. For your ritual summon. If this card's in the grave, you target one Drytron monster you control. It loses exactly 1,000 attack to the end of your opponent's turn, and if you do, add this card back to your hand. You only use this effect of Meteonis Drytron once per turn. So you can technically ritual summon as many times as you want with Meteonis Drytron, but you can only recur it once. So if you have other ways to get a Meteonis Drytron into hand or run multiple copies of it, you can ritual summon as up to many times as you have it in the hand, which is cool, but typically not needed. And nextly is the field spell, Drytron Fafnir. It is a 1 of. It's searchable by a lot of means. You could easily put this to a 3 of with terraforming and see a lot more consistency by running other names. Again, that's like the only thing I could do is increase the number of Drytron names or card names you're going to see if you're going to increase the number of this deck. Just for the fact that that's how the deck wants to play, you want to see as many names as you can. Fafnir and Nova themselves are the 1-card combo, which is nuts. Again, this is just a 4-material dad, but still, really cool. When this card's activated, you can add a Drytron spell/trap from your hand deck to hand, except itself. Then the activation and activated effect of ritual spell cards cannot be negated. Once per turn, if a monster is normal or special summoned, while you control a face-up Drytron monster, except during the step, reduce that monster's level by 1 per 1,000 of its current attack. Minimum level 1. The rest of the turn, you only use each effect of Drytron Fafnir once per turn. The secondary effect of Fafnir doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but the first effect's cool. Add a Drytron spell or trap on activation, and then the activation or activated effects of ritual spells can't be negated. So if you activate Meteonis after you activate Fafnir, they can't stop it, which is dope. And then we have Foolish Burial. It's a card you might not like. Why are you running Foolish Burial? There's still good targets to send. But you're wrong. Every card in this deck is a great Foolish Burial target, except your rituals. Those are the ones you really don't want to send. Which even then, doesn't really matter, because the cool thing about this, you can ritual summon from grave. Which I'm not sure if all ritual decks can do that, but this one can. Due to the fact that Meteonis doesn't care where the card's at. Hand or grave. So for example, I have no way to get Dad to my hand, but I have Foolish Burial. I'll send Dad to grave. It means I can ritual summon. That's why opening the ritual cards, it's not a bad thing. It's just a free tribute. That's all it is. So yeah. Foolish Burial. Surprisingly effective. There's turns where I'm glad I had this. The other hand trap I run is Imperm, another 3F just because names. Target one face-up card your opponent controls, negates effects until the end of the turn. And if this card is set before the activation on a field resolution, there's a turn that's found trapped in this column or negated if you control no cards after this card in your hand. Yeah, so it's target negation. If you don't know what Imperm does, then you're new to the game. But still. And lastly, we have a new card that came out in, I want to say, the most recent set? Info? Infinite? No. Yeah, Infinite Forbidden? Yeah, I think so. With its other corresponding monster. It's a continuous trap. Special summon this as an effect. Monster, Illusion Dark, level 4 attack, 15, and defense 600. With the following effects. This card is also a trap, so it still technically is the trap card. So if they blow it up, they can technically do it that way. If this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls up to the number of illusion monsters you control, and negate the effects until the end of the turn. This includes this card, because it's technically an illusion monster you control. So you can get an additional pop off of this, or additional negate, I should say. Including the monster that sets it, Silhouhatte Rabbit. Which is really cool, because it basically gets you 2 negates for the price of 1. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. You only get 1 Silhouhatte Trick per turn. Which is really good. So basically just gives you a free body on top of 2 negates. Alright, that is the main deck. Let's go ahead and jump into the extra and quickly go over some additional options you may want to run, or some options that you could be helpful. So let's go ahead and jump into the extra. We have Relinquished Anima, a Link 1 Dark Spellcaster Link effect. Its materials are 1 level 1 monster, except a token. All your Drytrons except Ursatron Alpha, the 7 guy. He's the only one that can't be used for this. All the other ones are 1s, so any Drytron name makes Relinquished. Doesn't come up a whole lot, but the fear of seeing Relinquished is helpful. Because you're playing at someone who doesn't know you're running Relinquished, they're going to put something in the same column as EMZ zone, and you can just take it with Relinquished, and just make Relinquished big. Which is nice. Because what it does, you can target 1 face-up monster this card points to, equip that face-up monster to this card, max 1, use each effect of Relinquished Anima once per turn. This card gains attack equal to the equipped monster. So say your opponent summons, I don't know, Masquerena Citadel. And then he summons it into one of the EMZ zones. You summon the Relinquished effect, target the Citadel, equip the Citadel, he's 3k now. It's not inherently amazing, but when it comes up, it's interesting because it throws your opponent off. They're not expecting to worry about their zones or their monsters to be taken outright. So it comes up when it comes up, it's great. But if your opponent knows it's there, they're going to play around it pretty hard. Next up is a interesting one, which is Herald Mirage Lights. It's a light Link 2 Fairy 600. 2 monsters with the same type and attribute except tokens. Everything in this deck except hand traps are either light, machine, or both. There's 1 water, so you can't use the Ursatron for this guy, but everything else is pretty much the same. And Benten. You can't use Benten because it's a fairy. But yeah, any other Drytron? you're fine. When a spell or trap effect is activated, quick effect, you can send one fairy monster from your hand or hand to the grave, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. The card is in your possession is sent to the graveyard by opponent's card effect, and add 2 ritual monsters or ritual spells with different names from your grave to the hand. You can only each effective Herald Mirage Light once per turn. This is mainly an additional send off of Herald of Diviner, but if you do make this, it's not inherently bad to have some kind of negation. And you do have a handful of light fairies using Benten. You can always kind of recycle your Bentens if needed. So not inherently a bad card. Then we have a very common card that everyone's running. It's a very easy card to see. IP Masquerena. It's a Dark Link 2 Cyberse 800. 2 non-link monsters. During your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after yourselves. Link summon 1 link monster using materials you control, including this card. Only each effective IP Masquerena once per turn. A link monster is used to use this card as material, cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. IP, one of the most powerful cards in the entire game. Used for the most powerful combo of summoning SP off of IP and just being obnoxious. I don't do that. I run the budget version. I run Knightmare Unicorn because I find Unicorn and Phoenix to be more helpful than just having an SP. And SP is too powerful for its generic powers. It's a 2-card removal for basically no cost. Yeah. Don't get me started on SP. I don't like SP. I like the card it's originally from of S-Force Rabba. That's a cool card. But I don't like SP. But the cool thing about IP in this deck, yes, I know, I do P. Haha, funny joke. Is that we make one of the best Link monsters ever printed for rituals, Dyna Mondo. He's a Earth Link 2 Cyberse 22 attack. 2 monsters including a ritual monster. No big deal. You summon rituals, you're going to have a material. If this card is special summoned, you can target 1 card in the field and 1 card in the ritual, and 1 ritual monster in your grave. Throw back into the deck. So any 2 cards. So, haha, go away. Your opponent's turn, quick effect, you contribute this card and target 1 ritual monster in your grave. Either add it to hand or summon it. You use each effective Dyna Mondo once per turn. So what you do is you make IP during your turn. Then you use Dad's 2 negates on your opponent's turn. Then you use SP and Dad to make Dyna Mondo. You summon Dyna Mondo. Then you trigger Dyna Mondo's effect, put a card back, all that, etc. And then you trigger Dyna Mondo's effect, tributing itself, and summon Dad back out because he's not hard once per turn effect. You get 2 more negates off of him. So technically, you get 4 negates off of Dad alone, which is really good because it's not hard to set up. You can do this with just Field Spell or Nova. It's a 1-card combo, which is nuts. So yeah. But yeah. The next one after that is Silhouhatte Rabbit. It's a Light Link 2 Illusion Link. Really cool card. Pretty generic in its material, but not overly powerful. If you're going to do generics, this is the way to do it. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. It's a weird illusion thing, I guess. I don't know. You only each effect of the following effects of a Silhouhatte Rabbit once per turn. If this card is Link Summon, you can set 1 continuous trap from your deck with an effect that summons itself as a monster. There's other traps like this. Azaroon is a good card with this as well. Also, this card can be used for Link material this turn. It's summoned. If a card is a spell in the spell and trap zone, is summoned to a monster zone except for damage set, you can target 1 spell and trap your opponent controls, destroy it. So, another cool thing about Silhouhatte Rabbit is if you summon anything from like a spell and trap monster, no matter what it does, you're guaranteed to get a pop of a spell and trap, of course, if you have him on field, due to how he works, which is cool. And then moving on to Knightmare Phoenix, which is a Link 2 Fire Fiend. They have 1900 attack. 2 monsters with different names, which is fine. Very easy to make. This card is Link Summon. Discard a card and target 1 spell or trap. Put it controls, destroy it. And then if this card is code-linked, when this effect is activated, draw a card. You know, each effect of Knightmare Phoenix once per turn. Once per turn, code-linked monster control cannot be destroyed by all this turn. So, it's an easy spell removal. Spell trap removal. Link 2, discard a card, pop it. Haha, be on your day. Very easy to make, very functional. 90% of players are running Knightmare Phoenix or a Nightmare card. Good job. I'm going to go ahead and jump past Dyna Mondo, since we already went over him, into Knightmare Unicorn, a Dark Link 3 Fiend, 222 attack, 2+ monsters with different names, so any 3. If this card is linked summoned, you can discard a card, target one card in the field, shuffle it into the deck, then if this card is co-linked, when this effect is activated, you can draw one card, but you can only use its effect of Knightmare Unicorn once per turn. While any co-linked Nightmare cards on the field, if your normal draw phase, draw one card for each different name among the co-linked Nightmare monsters, instead of just drawing one card. The second effect's never going to come up, but the spin is nice. That's all the link monsters. Let's go ahead into the Ixies and then a few synchros. We have Lyrilusc Assemble Nightingale. It's a wind, level 1, winged beast Ixie with 0/0. You may be thinking, why are you running a 0 attack monster? Because it gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. This card can attack directly when it has material, which is great. So it has 400, because it's 2+. You normally only going to use 2 monsters. So you have 400 attack. And if you know anything about Nightingale, you know exactly what this is for. And you attack directly, up to number of times material, and then once per turn, quick effect, you can detach one material on this card. Till the end of this turn, through this monster you control cannot destroy battle card effects. You also take no battle damage. That's helped to mitigate the fact that, say your opponent has a 3k body, and they negate, and they trigger imperm, you can chain Nightingale to still have the attack, but you won't take damage, to still use Nightingale for what you're planning to do with it, which is make Zeus. If you're running Nightingale in any other deck other than Lyrilusc, you're making Zeus. Because then, technically an Ixie attacked, you can make Zeus. Main reason you're running Nightingale is for Zeus. The other half of the Zeus package is Downerd Magician, a rank 4 dark spellcaster Ixie, 21,200 defense, 2 level 4 spellcast monsters. You're never going to use it. During your main phase 2, you can also Ixie summon this card by using a rank 3 or lower Ixie monster you control as material. Transfer its material to this card. This card gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. This card type is a monster and inflict pierce. If this card battles any damage after damage calculation, detach one on this card. Never use any of its effects except for its overlay, because you're going to go into Zeus. A rank 12 light machine Ixie. Again, surprisingly effective for links because it's a light machine monster. So it's 90% of the cards in the deck. Once per turn, if an Ixie monster battles this turn, you can also Ixie summon Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus, Sky Thunder by using one Ixie monster you control as material. Transfer material to this card. Quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card. Send all other cards, not including itself, everything else, from the field to the grave. Once per turn, if another card you control is destroyed by battle, opponent's card effect, you can attach 1 card from your hand, deck, or extra deck to this card as material. So it allows you to reattach materials if anything else you control is destroyed. So yeah, you make Zeus. That's what you do. The last Ixie we have is Drytron Nu Fafnir. If you know, you know. I'm not going to say it because if there's kids watching, I don't want to have them asking, what's that? If you understand what I mean by this, funny joke. Nu Fafnir is the Ixie they got in the second wave of support. It is a rank 1 light machine 2k, so again, works well with everything else. 0. When Ritual Summoned, you can detach materials from this card. When Ritual Summon, you can detach materials from this card as monsters required for the Ritual Summon. So technically, you get this Nu Fafnir as a whole can be used for the entirety of Dad, which is great because it's counted as 3 monsters, the 2 attached to it and itself. So you can make Dad by just using Nu Fafnir. So any 2 names is Dad because you get Nu Fafnir. And then once per turn, if this card is Ixie summoned, you can send 1 Drytron card from deck to the grave. Your opponent activates a spell/trap while this card, when you control machine or ritual monster, with effect to detach from this card, they get the activation you destroy that card. So, if you can keep Nu Fafnir, at least with a material on it, try to do so. Because if you have Dad plus Nu Fafnir, that's a spell trap negate, plus the monster negates off of Dad, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you run 2 of him just because you use it a lot. It's helpful because you make Nu Beta Fafnir, send Nu 2, Nu 2 grab Ursatron Alpha can get you basically anything in the deck. And then on to the Synchro monsters. We have Herald the Arclight, a level 4 Light Fairy Synchro, 600, 1000, 1 tuner plus non-tuner. You're never going to make this card. You inherently can't. The only way you can make Arclight cards in the deck is having 2 Drytron monsters, and then normally summoning Diviner, and sending Mirage Light. Because it won't gain a level due to the fact that it can't. Only way you're going to summon Arclight. It's possible, but it's never going to happen. Just the solid fact that the likelihood of that happening is low. Not inherently super low. Well, I guess if you really wanted to summon Arclight, you could also just normal summon Ash, then special any Drytron name, because it's also a tuner. But 90% of the time, you're never going to make this. It's going to be sent off of Diviner, which is fine. It's an omni-negate though, so that's something to think about. Herald of the Arclight. Any monster sent from the hand main deck to the grave is banished instead. When a spell slash trap card or monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can banish. You contribute this card and negate that activation. If you do, destroy that card. If a trap is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. So when it's sent, period. So if you tribute it for its own effect, you still get the add, which is nice. And then the most monster you're going to summon half the time is F8 Dawn Dragster. It's a level 7 light machine synchro 0-2k, 1 tuner plus non-tuner monsters. This is the one you're typically going to summon using Diviner, because you make Diviner go to 6 by sending the Herald of Arclight to make it a 6, because it gains 4, going to a 7. Needs attack equal to its level, so 300 times 7, 21. If the card attacks a monster, like Pierce, each time an FA spell or trap card is activated, you can increase its level by 1. On the turn when a spell trap effect is activated, quick effect, you can reduce its level by 2, and if you do, negate the activation, you do destroy that card. You get, it's 7, so what? 5, 3, 1? Yeah, you get 3 activations of it. You get 3 negates. 3 spell trap negates off of him, which is nice. It's a once per turn effect, but still good. And lastly, the one card that I'm very thinking of cutting, mainly because it's not inherently a bad card, but the thing it's used for is just a side deck option. Ancient Fairy Dragon. It's a light level 7 Dragon Synchro, 21, 3k defense, 1 tuner and non-tuner monsters. During the main phase, summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your hand. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this effect, which is fine if you're going first. During your main phase, you can destroy as many cards in the field zone as possible, and if you do, gain 1,000 life points. And if you can, add 1 field spell with a different name than destroyed cards from your deck to your hand. You can use each effect of Ancient Fairy Dragon once per turn. So, the main thing you're using Ancient Fairy Dragon in this deck for is Secret Vigil of the Spellcasters. That's typically it. Because what you do, you inherently could run a Disc Coliseum to search Regulus, if you're so inclined to do that, as another Omni-Negate. You could. You definitely could. But it's not needed. It's just not. That's 2 bricks that you don't want to open. But the main thing is you side in a copy of Secret Village of the Spellcasters. That's what this is meant to be. I don't know why it's not. Let me go ahead and just do that. I probably spelled secret wrong. Yeah, Secret Village of the Spellcasters. That's what that card is meant to be. Because you make Ancient Fairy, and then you go into Downerd Magician, just in general, by using any Ixie you control. Doesn't have to be Nightingale. It can be Nu Beta Fafnir if you can. And you go into Downerd Magician which is a spellcaster, and then you just sit on Secret Village with Dad. So that's 4 monster negates, was at least 2, possibly 4, depending on how you open. 2 monster negates and destroy, negate and destroy, on top of your opponent can't activate spell cards. And they have that swing over a 21 body, which is not, again, it's not the biggest in the world. There are cards that are bigger. Like, for example, oh god, is Fafnir bigger than that? Hold on. Yeah, Fafnir is 24. So yeah, if your opponent is running cashier cards, they can swing over this easily. They just, haha, Fafnir, go away. But yeah, just still, it's something they have to worry about if you do that. That's the only real reason. And there's a whole other thing you can do to summon Jalgan as well, the Spiritualist. It's really dumb. I forget how you do it, but you can do it. And Jalgan also plays into the fact that you can run Secret Village. But yeah, the other cards I just inherently threw down here is a Magic-y monster. This is Beto Buster. It's a machine ritual, so it's easily summonable off of any of your things. It's also a tuner, so again, it's a level 4, so inherently not as effective as the level 6, but you can still inherently synchro summon into Dawn Dragster by using 3 names, or possibly running another name if you're so included. It's not inherently a bad card. On top of that, when this card is ritual summoned, you can add 1 Magic-y card, and then you add the counter trap. Magic-y Unlocking, which is a spell trap negate, right? Yeah. But you have to keep Beto Buster on the field, so you can't get rid of it. You gotta keep a Magic-y ritual monster. But yeah, you could do that. But yeah, those 2 cards, Droll, if your opponent adds a card, discard this card, opponent can add for the rest of the turn. Nib, if your opponent summons 5 or more times, discard this card. Your opponent send all cards to the graveyard, summon, give them a token, and be on your day. But yeah, that is Drytron. This video is probably going on forever. Sorry about that. I try to do this in the fastest way possible. And I know most of you people don't watch the whole videos, because if you do, you would leave a comment down below saying you did. But I don't. We'll see. But until next time, this has been Drytron. I've been the Cardman's Cards, and until next time, keep collecting. Bye.